Previously, we talked about emptiness and charge, but there is one rule we still need to talk about. This rule is important because it explains why things form and why they don't. Nothing in this universe appears randomly. Nothing comes from just wanting. Nothing comes from just doing. Everything forms through balance. So creation happens when opposites meet. It's not when one side dominates, and it's also not when one side is missing. But creation happens when tension meets union. Positive meets negative, charge meets space, and electricity meets magnetism. So that meeting point, that is where form is born. Let's understand the law of polarity. Polarity isn't philosophy, but it is how reality works. Every system has two sides, every circuit has two poles, and every creation requires contrasts. There is no up without down, there is no inside without outside, there is no spark without a field. The universe doesn't create from sameness, it creates from difference in balance. Now you might be wondering, but why must positive meet negative? Let me explain. Positive charge by itself has nowhere to go, and negative space by itself has nothing to receive. But when positive meets negative, something completes. And when this happens, you realize that a loop closes, a circuit forms, and energy stabilizes. So that stability is what we call matter. And matter is when something becomes real. Let's try to understand how the universe uses tension to create form. Tension is not a problem. It is actually the opposite of that because tension is necessary. If there is no tension, nothing moves, nothing organizes, and nothing holds shape. Too little tension will result to nothing happening, and too much tension will result to breakage. Creation happens at the exact point where tension is balanced, not in chaos, not in collapse, but balance. Let us understand why neutrality equals fulfillment. When positive and negative meet evenly, something interesting happens. They neutralize. A battery at neutral has delivered power. A desire at neutral has landed. A system at neutral has stabilized. Fulfillment is neutrality. It is not excitement. It is not obsession. It is not desperation. It is completion. Now, let's try and understand why imbalance delays manifestation. People stay in desire because they imagine, they think, they anticipate, and then they wait. This is too much feminine and no charge. Others stay in action. They hustle, they push, and they force. This is too much masculinity and absence of space. Both are in balance and they result to delayed results. What most people fail to realize is that the universe doesn't respond to effort. The universe responds to alignment. Let's talk about the moment desires become pregnant. A desire becomes real when space and charge reaches equilibrium, and this is when everything changes. When you want and you move, when you open and you act, that is when the desires become pregnant with charge. It is not before balance, it is not after balance, it is during balance. Manifestation works like a battery, one side positive, the other side negative. When both sides come in contact, a spark occurs, and this is when your desires becomes a reality. Nothing forms without balance. Is it ideas? Is it relationship? Is it money? Is it change? Creation doesn't reward extreme. It rewards completion. When feminine space and masculine charge meets at equal strength, reality locks in. You don't need more effort. You need balance. Once you understand this, you stop chasing outcomes and you start completing cycles.